guys, Jamie here, keeping it coy. Had a bit of a disaster tonight, so hopefully we're sorted now. It's 2 a.m, weren't going to do any filming, but this could help a lot of other people out that want to either breed koi fry or get koi fry or overstock a small tank. So let me spin you around and I'll tell you what's been happening. So as you can see, I've got water all the way up to the sink, wet footprints everywhere, water in cans, all my usual bits and bobs, bucket with zeolite in, so water jugs, hair dryer, well it's a air dryer, not a hair dryer, sounds like a hair dryer. Koi are starting to now act normal. I've just retested the water parameters, they're almost back to normal. The light's been playing up because I've been throwing water everywhere. I don't know whether it'll now work. Let me just close that for a minute. You'll be able to hear me better then as well. Is the light going to come on? Hooray, the light's on. So as you can see, the fry are now calmed down a bit. They're still a bit erratic, but yeah, we've lost 4 fry tonight. Probably my fault, not sure. Maybe some more experienced fry keepers will be able to inform me. But let me tell you this story. Gave them their last feed at 9 o'clock, as pretty much always, and then just before my partner went to bed at around 9:30, 10 o'clock, she always takes the dog out to the toilet, excuse me fingers, before she goes to bed. So she shouted through to the living room, Jamie, I think you've got a dead koi in the tank. So right, okay, I'm coming. And then before I even got off the sofa, Jamie, I think it's two dead koi in the tank. Oh man, so I'm now running to the tank. I get to the tank and peer in, look at the top of the tank, and there's not just 2 floating up there. There was loads just floating around at the top. They weren't dead, but they weren't happy. They certainly weren't happy. They were literally all sitting at the top of the tank. I thought, well, they look like they're gasping for air, but I've got 2 air pumps in there. Now obviously going through the air filters, but it's still blowing a lot of air. You can see there's an awful lot of water movement in there, and plus that little filter there also pumps loads of bubbles and air in. So I thought, well, it can't be air. So first thing I did, grab my test kit again. I'd done a water test this morning, or yeah, as I always do. Nitrite, sorry, was a little bit high, as it has been ever since I overstocked the tank. It's always a fighting battle with this many koi in a 300 litre tank. Yeah, so I whip my test kit out, test the ammonia, absolutely fine. Test the nitrite, within 2 seconds it had gone dark red, probably redder than the card even shows. So at that point, obviously, I knew immediately it was a nitrite issue. So what I did at that stage, panic stations, obviously I knew I needed to do a massive water change. So all the fish that were really suffering and floating at the top, filled this bucket up with fresh dechlorinated tap water, chucked in a few, well, a bit more zeolite than that was in there, but the bottom, I'd covered the bottom basically with zeolite. Obviously it helps reduce ammonia, so if any more ammonia was coming out of the fish from being stressed, it would help with that. The rest is now in one of my old pond baskets underneath the filter, so there's good water movement around in that corner. So yeah, so I scooped out with my little fry net all the fry that were floating and just bouncing around with the current. I mean, they weren't swimming, they literally did look dead, other than the fact that their mouths and gills were slowly moving. So scooped them all out. I've got a, let me show you that as well. I've got a battery underneath my temperature gauge, a battery air pump. You charge it up. So if you can hear that, but by All Pond Solutions. There's two air lines. Don't use it very often, mainly if I'm transporting fish in boxes rather than bags, but it's got a little old fishing weight to keep it at the bottom of the bucket, bag, tub, whatever I'm moving fish with. So I chuck that in there with the zeolite at the bottom of the tub, and then started to do a water change. And I'm changing and I'm changing and I'm changing, and every bucket load of water I took out and replaced, another one starts to float, gasping for air. So rather than do it by the bucket loads, I got the hose pipe and started siphoning it outside, and got the outdoor hose pipe and chucked it in the tank, along with some sodium thiosulfate, or however you pronounce it, just to obviously help keep the chlorine down. I know obviously the reaction of that does cause a bit of ammonia, but as I say, there is no ammonia at all in the tank. So but yeah, long story short, basically I did an 80% water change, and the fish then started to calm down, started to swim normally again. Within a couple of hours, the fish that were in the bucket behind me all started to act normal, apart from four. As I say, four teeny little ones didn't make it. The only teeny little one I've got left now is this little fella down there, if the camera focuses. Yeah, he's one of the ones that I still suspect, oh, he's gone now, still suspect to be possibly gin ring. I don't know whether it's just because he's tiny or he actually is, but where's the other one? The other one's a yellowy one, not sure where it is right now. It's the only problem when the tank gets cloudy like this. You wouldn't believe I've done an 80% water change, although you can actually see the fake grass in the middle, and you can now just about make out the back air filter, which obviously you couldn't see the other day when I did a fry update. But yeah, they're now acting normal. I don't think I'm going to have any more losses tonight. I also vacuumed the bottom of the tank in case there was any food left over from their feed that I gave them half hour before it all started kicking off, which there was a bit of food left on the bottom, so it vacuumed all that out. And yeah, they're not going to be fed an awful lot tomorrow, and as you can see, they've all got pretty fat bellies right now. So yeah, they should be all right for most of the day tomorrow without food. Test the water again towards the evening, and if the nitrites are down a bit, then yeah, they can have a bit more then. But both of the I haven't done the air filters because as you know, that one's pretty much brand new. That only went in the other day. But both that filter and the 305, which is why there's water everywhere, have both had a damn good clean out. So I've got the Fluval 305 in there. I'll be getting the towels out in a minute to dry the floor. But yeah, so again, just to help a little bit, I've chucked in an extra basket of zeolite. I mean, you guys know now that I've got a few bags dangling in the back, one with some watercress and oxygenating plant. That one's a bag of activated carbon, and the bag on that side is just a bag of zeolite, just to again help with the ammonia. So moral of the story, to those people that want to try and keep koi fry, try not to overstock is probably the most important. I mean, obviously when you guys, if you was with me when I unboxed these, obviously the tank when I unboxed them, let me step back a bit, the tank looked extremely empty because of how small they were. I mean, that little tiny one that I put the camera on a minute ago, they were literally all that size. Now they've, what, 5 times bigger than they was when I've got them. Instead of looking empty, the tank is now starting to look a bit overcrowded. They're still alright for the minute, but at this size now I'm just going to have to keep a much closer eye on the parameters. Keep my eye on the feeding. As I say, with a tank this size and this many fish, you have to check the water parameters every day anyway. But what I'll probably do now is check it before every time I'm about to feed, or at least the nitrites for now anyway. I've ordered another nitrite kit because I know full well I use the I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, I use the Colombo test kit. Absolutely great kit. I've tried a few different test kits, Pond Labs, NT Labs, sorry. Let's see if one I've had recently. Oh no, that one is NT Labs. Tetra, that was the other one I've tried recently, Tetra tests. But I just prefer the ease, the instructions, and the dropper bottles, to be honest, of the Colombo. Plus it comes in a really neat carry case. So the NT Labs one does come in a nice little box, but I prefer the way it's organised and ease to use of the Colombo, so I'm going to stick with that. But I've ordered a separate nitrite kit just to well, because I know as I'm going to be testing it 2 or 3 times a day now, at least for the foreseeable. Yeah, or as I say, do it before every feed, and that way I'll know if it's extremely high, we will skip that feed and try again later. I know the filters can cope because I've had fry in here. Well, this is the third or fourth year I've had fry in this tank now, so I know it can cope. But yeah, my own fault, I guess. I should have. It was fine that morning when I did test the water and gave them their morning feed. And when I popped back for my lunch, I gave them their afternoon feed, and I gave them their feed when I got back from work. And yeah, it was just their evening feed. It just must have pushed it over the top. Within, as I say, within half an hour of that, they all started deteriorating. But looks like they're all back to normal and happy now, all floating at the side of the tank saying, "Feed me." Well, you're not getting any more tonight. I mean, just by, you can see just by looking at them, their bellies are extremely full. There's a couple in there that don't look like they are getting as much food because they're still very skinny. But yeah, and I don't know whether I told you guys, but within the first couple of days of having these guys, one of the really tiny ones, he just went past the camera, he's gone now, but if I see him again I'll point him out. But within the first couple of days, one of the larger ones had started getting very aggressive and started trying to peck at all the smaller ones, and yeah, within a couple of days half of his tail was missing. Pleased to say he's actually one of the ones that's one of the small ones that's still survived, and now we can actually see in the tank his tail is actually fully grown. But there is another one just about to come into view here. Don't know whether you can see that there. He's now missing a couple of ends to his tail as well, and so I'm guessing the little aggressive fish is still munching, and there's certainly no bad bacteria in this tank anyway. It's the main filter is cleaned out every 3 days. The in tank filter, whatever that's called again, I can't remember now, but that's cleaned out every 3 days, and I'm yet to clean out the air filters. I mean, that one is just starting to get dirty. The back one for some reason doesn't seem to gather any dirt, so it's obviously not the best place to put it, but it's right next to the main down pipe for the main filter, and obviously that's got a much bigger suction than the air filter will have. So yeah, the tank's always clean. Obviously the bottom gets vacuumed a couple of times a week, and they have a water change every day. I don't know whether you guys have noticed, but I've got little tiny bits of post-its on the side there, and on the top triangle where it's filled to at the minute. That's my fill line. I am slightly under that right this second, but as I say, I've been panicking and trying to get the well, not panicking but stressing, trying to get the water parameters under control. But the second arrow is the second arrow down, the one in the middle there. That's a 10% water change, and then the bottom arrow is a 20% water change. So I've just got them on there just so it's easier for me when I'm doing a water change to get a rough idea of how much I need to change. And again, now I'm going to before I do my water change, which I normally feed them straight after a water change anyway, but I'm now going to obviously be doing my tests before every feed, so I can check the nitrite level, and if it needs a bit extra of a change, it will do. Now, although I did kick-start these filters ever so slightly with a couple of the smaller fish from the pond a week prior to getting these guys, obviously it's still going through its new pond syndrome, which is probably why it's struggling this season, because normally I plan much further ahead than that and get the filters up to scratch, whereas these guys were a spontaneous purchase from the Boulding Reefer, just because he advertised them and I saw them, and you know, I weren't going to do it this year because I'm in the middle of a pond build, but I thought, well, you know, I've lost most of my fish now, so at least hopefully I'll get some stunners out of these guys. I think this one's going to be an Orcheba. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but he's grey silvery body with a browny orange head and back, but the pattern going down his back, you can't obviously really see it from here, but it's almost like a thunderbolt. The pattern that you can see on the side there, if you're looking straight down on him, it zigzags from one side to the other, and I absolutely love it. Well, there's the one that I think could possibly be Jinring. Again, tell me if I'm wrong, guys. I know obviously they're still a bit small to tell at the minute. Stop looking at me. Turn sideways. But yeah, compared to all the other ones of that sort of similar colour, as you can see there, he's swimming with a couple of buddies. He's just extra shiny. So that, what I assume is a Chagoi, he's also got a good sparkle to him. But yeah, I think there'll be a couple in there that'll be Jinring. Probably be seeing another 2 or 3 weeks, because as I say, they're growing. I would probably be saying a millimetre a day at the minute, so about a centimetre a week. So yeah, they're growing fast. So another couple of weeks, and they'll be big enough to start going outside. And yeah, I'm gonna heat up the pond. Lower this. I've actually lowered it ever so slightly this evening doing a water change. Don't know if you can see that up there. It's now 21.4 instead of 23, but the heaters are still on. But yeah, when the tank's getting a bit too overcrowded, I'll select the sort of 4 or 5 biggest ones and heat up the outdoor pond and get them introduced in there, or one of the outdoor vats. I might even try to put 1 or 2 in the one that with the fish that had all the bacterial problems, because I'm pretty sure whatever it was is gone now. It's just obviously fighting to heal the fish, because there's still 3 other fish in there that have never shown any sign of having any affection, and being in such a small 1,000 litre tank, I think I said in a previous video, surely it would have passed on to them by now if it was still there. So yeah, I think it's on the head, but a tiny little fish like this will obviously suffer quite badly if there is anything still in there. So it'll be a a good test, and I'm pretty confident. But it will also, you know, it will show me that them fish are good to go together then with all my other fish. So when the pond then is finished, they can all go back in, because it would be, you know, I know it possibly could be cruel to whichever one of these poor little things has to go in that one, but if he lives, then at least I know that when the new pond's built, they can all go in together, and I'll just keep treating the shower, because he's the only one now with any sort of large ulcer. The Ogon still got a small mark, but it's almost healed again now. But then again, it almost healed last time and then come back, so we'll see. But yeah, so I'm going to call it a day there. I've been waffling on, or as some people would say, jibber jabbering on to you guys now for 20 minutes. But I say it's just something to think about if you're planning on having fry. Your filters do need cleaning out more regularly. Because of the food that they're fed and the size of their waste they produce, it just turns into a slimy sludge in the filters, not like you'd get on a normal koi pond. It really is just like on a normal koi pond, obviously when you're wringing out the sponges, you're wringing out bits of poo, yeah, and mainly algae. With this kind of stuff, you could be wringing the sponges for 10-15 minutes in a bucket of pond or tank water, and they still feel clogged. You really do have to go at them. I mean, ideally hitting them with a jet wash is the best way to clean them, but then obviously I can't do that right now because I'm fighting nitrates, and if I wash out too much of the bacteria, then I'm going to keep hitting the same brick wall every time. So I've got to try and just keep them as clean as possible without removing the bacteria to keep the tank cycling. But live and learn. I mean, it's the first time that in that kind of scale has happened to myself. I mean, you know, I have had nitrite spikes in the past, but not that bad. When you put 5 drips of your Colombo test in, and within 2 seconds it was, I mean, show you the card. I'm sure you've all got one of these somewhere, whether it's an NT Labs or, you know, Colombo one, but on the top. But yeah, within 3 seconds the red, it was darker than that. I mean, that's still a pink to me. The red was more that colour. Within a couple of seconds, so I knew obviously that was the problem, but it's back to about that at the minute now, back to about 2 milligrams, still ridiculously high, but that's after an 80% water change. So I'll let the filters catch up now. I mean, they all seem happy enough. It's still salted, so obviously that helps take the toxicity away from the ammonium nitrite. So let the filters catch up. I'm not going to feed them anymore tonight or tomorrow morning, and see how they're doing this afternoon. I mean, you can see them all down at the bottom, like pecking at the floor. There's no food in there. It's been vacuumed, but they're obviously all still hungry. They're just so greedy, these ones. I mean, they are, to be honest, one of the healthiest batches, as I've said before in my fry updates, one of the healthiest batches I've ever had. So that's probably why they're always looking for food, so I'm always feeding them. But that'll teach me. Alright, I'll call it a day here, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps more people in the future. Pond update will be coming out on the weekend as always. Getting there with the digging. I'm almost finished, he says. But yeah, stay safe, and if you are liking these videos, and if I've helped you in any way, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give us a thumbs down. Subscribe if you haven't. Plenty more koi videos to see, and I'll catch you on the next one when I'm doing some pond updates. Take care.